Hey YouTube, so today I'm going to end up showing you how to end up making a pink wood stain using the Key to Dye kit. So there's two ways that you can end up making, well, I guess a pink color. I'm just going to end up showing first of all how to make a regular pink, like a light standard pink. So the first thing I'm going to end up doing is I'm taking hot water, and so I'm going to add a cup to this container, and then I'm going to add a little bit more, so I'm going to go about 1.5 cups of hot water, which is about 12 ounces. You'd probably go a little bit more. It kind of depends upon your wood, how you prepped it. For me, I ended up using just a 100 grit sandpaper on this piece. I wet it down with hot water, and then I ended up sanding it down again and let it dry. So what I'm doing is taking a 1/8 teaspoon, and I'm just going to level this off, and then I'm going to add it to the 12 ounces of water, just kind of scattering it around there. I'll mix this up, and then I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes or so, just to make sure that everything gets dissolved and is ready to go. So we're going to pause this and we'll be right back. Alright, now there's two ways that you can end up applying this. Sorry, we ended up letting this sit about, I'd say, 3 to 5 minutes, somewhere around there. You can end up taking just like so I guess there's more than two ways, but you can scoop it up and then just pour it onto here. I guess it kind of depends upon your surface. You can use a paintbrush, you can filter this through a squirt bottle, and you can apply it that way as well. So because this is just a small piece, I'm just going to end up using a technique they call French polish. So I'm just going to end up dipping this, just paper towel, into this dye. And now I'm just going to lightly apply this to the wood. Now there is no wood filler or sanding sealer or anything on this piece. Like I said, it's just basically sanded with 100 grit. I ended up wetting it out and then let it dry, and then I sanded it back again. So I'm just wetting this all out. And then I'm going to end up letting this dry until it's completely dried out. You'll be able to tell because there won't be any dark spots or anything else on it. Now it's going to look kind of light at first, but the dyes will end up darkening as it progresses through this staging. So we'll be back. Okay, so this isn't fully dry, but I can already tell that this is going to be a little bit lighter than what our intention is. This is more of like I guess almost like a flesh color, kind of a peach. So I'm just going to end up adding a little more of the red, not too much more, but just a little bit, because I did use 12 ounces on this one, or I probably should have just used 10. So I'm going to mix this up, and I'm going to wait for this to finish drying, and then I'll be back when we're ready to do the second application. So this is just a standard piece of wood. There's no color on there, so I hope that this can kind of show a little bit of what's going on here. I know it's really hard to show wood coloring with a video camera, but this is turning out fairly pink just from the first application, and it's still drying out. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just taking a dried paper toweling, and I'm just what they call burnishing in between. This will help it dry a little bit, and it also helps the dyes even out over the finish. So this is turning out fairly pink just from the first application. I thought it was a little bit light, but that's why I say just to give it a little bit of time, because once it dries it will darken and have a little other color. So I guess I'm gonna end up waiting and seeing how this ends up turning out before I put the second coat application on there. So I'll be right back again. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna end up sealing this up with just like a lacquer, and I'm gonna cover half of this so you can kind of see the progression of this. Or this may be the color that you're looking for. You just want one that's a little bit darker. So just cover half of this up so that way you can kind of see the different colors. There we go. So again, this is just the first coat of the pink color with the diluted red, and that was at just still the 12 ounces and the 1/8 teaspoon. I don't know how good this is showing up. I'm sure it's not showing up very good for color wise at all, but again, this is just a standard color piece of wood. Boy, it's really not showing up good. Well, I really apologize for that, but it is very pink, I can say that. So we're just going to progress on with the second stage of this, and we'll be right back. So I'm just applying the second coat with the little extra red added to it on this side here, just to show what the difference would be with a second coat on there. Again, I'm sure this isn't showing up very well, and I really apologize. And here again is just a standard piece of wood. So that way you can kind of see the difference. I'm just going to dab off some of this excess here. And then when this is dry, I'll come back and show you just before I end up sealing this second side. So again, this is making the pink wood stain with the Kita dye kit. Alright, so this is dried now. So this was the second coat with the little extra red added to it. Maybe you should have just added just a second coat without the extra, but this is a little bit more along the lines of what we were looking for. So what I'm going to do is continue to seal this piece up, and we will show you the final results. Thank you. Okay, so this is still a little wet, but my phone battery is about to die. So I basically just brought this back up so I could end up showing the results. So now this is an actual red. This was something that we ended up doing for the colors of the letters of the name of Kita, and this is just a comparison so that way you guys can see the pink color that is showing on here. Now this side here is the one that ended up having the second coat of pink applied to it, and this one here is the one that just was the single color coat. So I hope this gives a somewhat decent demonstration of how to end up making the pink wood stain using the Kita wood dye kit. One more thing too is you can also add a little bit of hot pink or a little bit of yellow to end up making a hot pink color, which is what this one is, and it ends up turning out with a little hot pink. So you can either that, or you can end up darkening up the diluted formula a little bit more, and that could end up by putting a couple of layers on there, you could end up getting that color as well. But otherwise, if I were just to add a little bit of yellow and probably a little bit more of the red, I could end up creating a hot pink color such as this as well. And again, these are still wet, so you can kind of see that, and I really apologize for that, but my phone is about to die, so I thought I would try to get this in quick. So I hope this helps out, and this really is a nice pink color, and I know it's not showing up very well on the camera, but it is also a starting point, so you can end up adding a little bit more red if you thought that would end up being more of the color that you were looking for. So again, thank you. This is the Keto Wood Dye Kit, and I hope it helps out.